Okay, welcome back to another video, guys. This is the highly anticipated Drew Morgan 40-day carnivore review video. So stay tuned, get ready. I'm going to be as unbiased and as objective as I can throughout this video. I'm going to do my best, of course, coming from that 4.5 year previous vegan perspective on the last 40 days that I've embarked on this heavy meat, heavy carnivore diet, if you will. I'm going to go through, it will be segmented. You can see the show notes below. It's going to have some of the questions that I'm going to basically answer and cover in this video. And I want to address the vegans at the very beginning of this video. So if you came here to just shut your mind down and hit me with a dislike, go ahead and do that now and peace out of the video. My intention here is not to convince anybody of anything. I'm just here to share my experience. I'm here to let people know that if they're struggling, there might be some other solutions for them. I'm not here to say that this is the best end-all be-all diet that everybody should jump on. And honestly, just take this whole thing as a piece of information, a data point, if you will, to the grand scheme of all the nutritional information and studies and experiential anecdotal reports that we have from people. That's really all we can offer now. Me personally, I believe that we are beyond studies at this point. I know that they're good to have that scientific foundation, but really we have good science and evidence supporting both sides of the plant-based versus carnivore argument. That's not really what we're going to discuss in this video. This is just going to be a straight up review, as objective as possible, of the last 40 days. Let's go. Okay, so I know for a lot of you, this is probably your first time ever seeing me on YouTube. You're wondering, why did I switch from a 4.5 year vegan diet to a carnivore diet? I already made a video about that. You can see my issues on the vegan diet. We're not going to discuss that in this video. I will link that video below. Let's suffice it to say that I was having some issues that I could not overcome after tweaking absolutely everything that I could think of. Now we're going to get into what am I actually eating on this so-called carnivore / ketogenic diet. I call it carnivore light. Basically, it's kind of a lazy carnivore. I definitely eat the majority of my foods coming from all animal products. I'm eating eggs, beef, fish, chicken, mainly the fattier cuts of chicken like wings and thighs and stuff like that. With the beef, I'm doing steaks, I'm doing ribeyes. I haven't gotten into the organ meats yet. It's a little harder to find here in Hawaii. This is my last day in Hawaii, so I'm sharing it with you guys. It's only appropriate being 40 days. It seems like a biblical thing, but anyway. So what else am I eating? I've tried salmon eggs. That really wasn't for me. It was too salty coming from the grocery store that I purchased them from. I've had ribs, I've had pork, I've had bacon, pretty much everything at this point. I am sneaking in a little bit of greens and onions as well in with my meals just for flavor purposes. I can't deny that fruits and vegetables taste good, especially when they're paired correctly with food and seasoned and all this stuff. I just know that at a certain point I reach a digestive threshold max and I start having some serious issues. Okay, so next most important thing that I know everybody's tuning in for, this is digestion. This is what I pay so close attention to throughout my entire vegan career, pre-vegan, and especially now post-vegan. So the quick and dirty review of the digestion on the carnivore diet is, it is a thousand times better than the vegan diet. That is really all I can say. What I would say is important on this diet is that you have no bloating, no gas, okay? So zero, pretty much. It depends on which foods you're eating. You can get by with a little bit of, sometimes you're gonna have to adjust to certain things that you're eating. Like, first time I had butter, I had a little bit of stomach indigestion. I'm looking at crabs and stuff all around me. But I had a little bit of indigestion the first week where I was getting a little bit of acid reflux, and I had to actually stop drinking so much water before and after my meals. I found that that helped me quite a bit. So basically, yeah, you're just gonna have to get used to the things that you're eating. You know, some days I would eat 3/4 pounds of steak and I would have absolutely no issues. The next day I eat 1 full pound and then I would have actually diarrhea about 2 hours later. So true diarrhea only happened about 3 or 4 times out of this entire 40 days that I've had. I haven't had any type of bad bowel movement in at least 3 weeks now. So it's quite impressive when you compare it to what I was experiencing on the vegan diet. Okay, again, I was eating 2,500 to 3,500 calories a day as a vegan. I am eating less now, and it's pretty much zero fiber. So it's I'm eating more like 1,800 to 2,500 calories a day. To me, that feels good. My theory behind that is that we need a little bit less calories when we're eating a zero fiber diet, because almost 100% of that is getting absorbed into our bloodstream, and you can really tell you have to go to the bathroom a lot less. Both number ones and number twos, you have to pee and poop a lot less. So I think that that's pretty impressive, and it's really interesting how differently it works. And a lot of the old myths about, you know, the meat's rotting in your gut or whatever, that a lot of the vegan side likes to push has definitely not been true in my case, and not been true in the case of a lot of other people going down this route. Okay, so let's cover how I feel both physically and mentally. Okay, so let's cover mental clarity first, actually. What I do notice is that I can go longer and stronger throughout the day without really needing to eat food. I am doing some bulletproof coffee in the morning, so what that means is I'm throwing in some grass-fed butter along with some coconut oil into my coffee, and I just feel really good. I'm able to focus really well. I can go till about 2 or 3 p.m. without even thinking about food. I honestly forget about food until about that time in the afternoon, and then I remind myself. So you feel a burst of energy. You could work out if you wanted to. I like to work out just before I eat my first meal. I feel light, I feel strong. Speaking of strength, we'll move to the physical now. So I feel very physically good. Like before, if I were to go on a hike, let's say a 3-hour hike, by the end of that hike, I mean, I would have to eat right before I start the hike as a vegan, and then right afterwards, I'd have to have like a meal ready to go or be snacking the whole time. So you don't have these really intense sugar crashes where you're zooming up after a fruit smoothie and then you're dropping off the cliff once that initial sugar carb hit is gone. It's a much more stable, calm energy. That's how I can explain it, is I do feel more calm and more just satisfied in general in my mind. I can get a lot more focus on it, get a lot more clarity in whatever it is I'm doing. What's going on, guys?
Hi.
Now again, speaking back to the physical aspect is strength, so physical strength. Now I have actually been losing a little bit of weight. I'll cover that in a little bit later detail in the video. Starting out, I was 155 pounds. I could rep max of 9 pull-ups on the pull-up bar. So I've actually increased that to 14, which is a personal lifetime best. Okay, so I've increased my pull-ups by 5 reps in less than 1 month, actually, of doing the same exact routine I was doing before as a vegan. I was doing that routine for months and months. I was making almost no progress. I jump on Carnivore, boom, 5 reps. I was literally gaining over 1 rep per week. For those of you who have tried to gain reps on calisthenics, you know how long it can take you to actually add just 1 more rep to your max. So I found this interesting. I wanted to test the theory and see if I was only gaining reps because I was losing weight. Again, I lost about 7 pounds from my initial starting weight on the carnivore diet. So again, I was starting at about 155. I dropped down to about 148 pounds morning weight. I'll roll that footage in below. I actually tested it with a 10-pound weight on my back. I weighed in at about 158 pounds with the 10-pound weight, and I actually retested my strength max on the pull-up. I was able to get almost 12 reps. So 11, and I was real close to getting the 12th rep. So I actually put on a max of 2 reps there, proving that I gained strength and lost weight at the same time, which is impressive in its own regard. But we already kind of knew that the keto, carnivore, high meat, high animal protein, high leucine diet is going to provide pretty good results in the strength and aesthetic, fat loss department. That really was never in question for me. Okay, a little more to expand on the physical aspect. I did run through the Keto Flu about 7 days in. I was feeling very, very good. Rolling into the first week, I had like tons of energy. I was still probably working off some of the carbohydrates, some of the high fat stores, I don't really know. But 7 days in exactly, I felt terrible. I felt like I was completely out of my body. I had no appetite. I was actually very nauseous. I could not even cook food or even think about eating for a basically 24-hour period. How I ended up breaking that cycle was I got some kefir in my system, which is basically a dairy product that's been fermented. It's kind of like a yogurt. There's a little bit of trace sugar in the kefir. The particular brand that I had about 15 grams for the amount that I ate. So I was still well below the ketogenic limit for the day. And what happened was I drank the kefir. I felt way better. But 2 hours later, I had like instant diarrhea. So I know for sure it was the kefir that caused that. But after that, I've been drinking kefir on a regular basis whenever I feel like I want it. And it hasn't caused any issues for me. So like I said, there's an adaptation period to some of these things that you eat for the first time. Okay, so now let's go back to the weight loss that I described. I did lose 5 pounds the very first week. I think the majority of that was carbohydrate and water weight. So 5 pounds, bam, right off the bat. And then slowly 2 more pounds trickled off my body, mainly fat. I mean, I'm maintaining a lot of the muscle mass that I had before. I'm looking a lot leaner. I haven't seen this much of a change aesthetically in my body in a long time. I mean, 30 days in, I was already showing more abdominal muscles. I know that a lot of you are not caring about the aesthetics, but are here for mainly health stuff. I mean, that will not be determined until years into any diet. But what I can report on again is the physical things that I've seen in the mirror, and they are impressive. Now again, going back to the calorie balance, I was losing a little bit of weight until I added in the bulletproof coffee, as I mentioned earlier. Just that little bit of butter and extra coconut oil calories. It's about 250 calories going into my coffee in the morning, allows me to maintain and stabilize my weight. So I am looking forward to the point where I will start turning the weight around and gaining it. That is my goal long term. But as long as I'm losing fat and I'm gaining muscle, I'm a happy camper. Okay, so it's very critical to mention something that I touched on in my last video regarding libido. So I mentioned that I did have a major libido decrease. I do want to share a particular story with you. Definitely nobody else on YouTube is going to talk this candidly about their sexual problems, but I'm going to let you guys know the first night that I decided to embark on this whole meat-based journey, I had a pound of ground beef and I had 4 eggs with that meal. So what happened with me was I woke up about 4 a.m. and I had a very powerful, raging, rock hard erection, okay? And that was such a sign to me that things were moving in the right direction for my libido. And since then, things have just been gradually getting better and better. Things are feeling much more normal to me now. I am getting, you know, all the signs that a man's organs are working correctly, let's just say that. Now, some other little bonus that I'm going to touch on is actually oral hygiene in this video. One of the things we'll be talking about white tongue and just oral hygiene in general. So actually one of the indicators that I feel like denotes good gut health. Now this may be getting to the woo-woo Chinese medicine aspect. I don't want to go too far in that direction, but it does seem pretty logical and obvious to me when you look at your tongue, especially the back of your tongue. If you have a little white coating on there, that's usually meaning that there's some sort of distress in the rest of your digestive system. And most people have white tongue that have a poor digestive tract. So it's not something far-fetched to believe that watching the white tongue recede is a good thing, meaning that you have some good results going on in your digestive system, meaning that there's some healing going on. Now I will say, and this is something that I won't show in the video, I'm actually still too reserved to show the white tongue. For some reason that's like my limit, but it is receding a little bit. It is not completely gone. I will say that if I had to give it a percentage chance healed compared to going into the carnivore thing, I'd say it's about 25% better. It's not like a dramatic increase, but it is looking better. It is noticeable. And I can't wait to show the day that it's completely gone and I just have a juicy, pink, clean tongue, because to me that's going to mean that I have a very clean, well-built, well-sealed digestive tract, no more leaky gut. You know, hopefully some other issues will clear up along with that, such as certain allergies and food allergies or whatever. So now the other thing is just going to be oral hygiene in general. This is something that I really had an issue with as a vegan, especially my first year. I really had a lot of cavities that developed. I had 4 cavities, and I had not had cavities in over 10 years as a vegan, and I just saw that there was a slow degradation, especially the more acidic fruits that you ate, such as oranges and things like that. Your teeth just seem to fall apart, and this is a common theme with a lot of people that I know. This is something that people are actually willing to talk about as a vegan, and they just attribute it to eating, you know, a lot of fruit and a lot of citrus and stuff like that, and they're probably correct, but the issue is you can't avoid those fruits as a vegan. So you're always just building this sugar mounds on your teeth around the gum line, and what's happening is that the bacteria is coming in and it's eating that sugar and it's leaving their own waste product, and it's actually eroding your enamel. So I'd look more into that if I were you. If you are having teeth issues all around the gum line, I've had a lot of dental enamel erosion. So that's something that I always was concerned with. Along with that was just like a general sense of bad breath. Like there's just bacteria in between your teeth. I mean, if you're a vegan, go floss your teeth after a whole day, and I guarantee you that floss smells terrible. As a carnivore, I gotta say, when I floss, there's just no smell on the floss, especially if I don't eat any carbs for that day. So in that regard, it's a black and white difference. I'd say the 2 biggest differences that I notice is the digestion and the oral hygiene. Those 2 things are undeniable in my opinion. They don't require anybody to tell me, or I don't need any blood tests to prove this. It's just like, it's so obvious. So other than how the body looks, guys, we'll back up a little bit. We'll show you. We are leaner. We are leaner than ever. Not looking too bad. I'm pretty happy with the results. So other than that, we're just going to close this video out. I'm not here to push this diet on anybody. I mean, I think it sounded pretty extreme to me before I tried it. I thought it was the stupidest thing that I ever heard of, especially towards the end of my vegan career. I was actually trolling on Sean Baker's videos until I started really looking into this thing. And it turns out that there's just a lot of people getting a lot of good results. I'm a member of a couple different keto carnivore groups on Facebook, over 10,000 members each. And every day you just see multiple stories of people just getting insane results. I mean, people losing 50 to 100 pounds, people clearing up diabetes, they're getting off medications, they're clearing up high blood pressure, especially skin disorders like left and right. Psoriasis is one of the things that people are coming to this diet for. And I also want to touch a little bit on the whole SIBO thing when it comes to, oh, you're going to ruin your gut flora and you're never going to be able to digest vegetables again. Man, like, at what point do we start trusting our intuition, guys? Because I did veganism for 4.5 years. That amount of time should have been plenty of time for my gut to adjust to whatever type of things that I was eating. And then you just jump on a carnivore and then, you know, snap of a fingers the next day, you're literally getting much better results. So for the vegans telling me that I did veganism wrong and they want me to go back to something that wasn't working for me, it just doesn't make sense to me right now, because they want me to go back to a diet that could potentially work, that I tweaked 10 different ways, versus a diet that is working for me right now with minimal tweaks. You got to understand how hard it is to convince somebody to go do that when they are getting such good results and it feels natural. All the other markers are pointing to positivity and success on this diet. Mental clarity, physical fitness, aesthetic goals being reached. You got to realize that it's a holistic approach. So anybody who has any more questions, go ahead and just shoot me some comments below. I can't wait to make more videos. I'm pretty psyched about this stuff right now. I've been obsessed for weeks. Can't wait to share more. See you guys.